I do want to talk about a controversy that happened over the weekend, and that was actress Julia Fox found herself in some hot water when she wrote about mascara on TikTok, but her comment wasn't really about mascara. This really opens up a larger story about algo speak, which we'll get into, but first, can you walk us through the Julia Fox saga?
Sure thing. So she had posted a comment on a TikTok creator's post in which the creator said that he quote unquote gave mascara to one of his friends, and she thought it was so good that she decided that she will give it to her other friend without his consent. So Julia Fox posted saying, "I feel bad for you, LOL." So and then, to which he retorted like, "Are you laughing about my sexual assault?" And that just completely threw everything off.
So there's a lot to unpack in this story. First, can you describe the discrepancy here, which harkens back to algo speak? So define algo speak for us.
So algo speak is sort of coded words that people use on social media platforms such as TikTok, Twitch, to sort of avoid AI content moderation. And they use sort of replacement words for things that mean, I guess you could say, something else, or content that's deemed sort of harmful in those social media platforms, so they won't be regulated or demonetized.
So this comment was about mascara, which she took at face value. Obviously, the person who posted it meant something else entirely. So how is the everyday average user supposed to pick up on algo speak?
That's a very good question.
The $1 million question.
$1 million question. Just because it's especially jargony mostly for people who are not on these social media platforms as much. At most, you can guess like context clues from other users, just so you can like be up to date about it. But there's no really sort of guideline to sort of how do you find out which is which. I mean, you could start seeing like frequent uses of the word and kind of begin to infer if you're on these social media platforms a lot. But most of the time, people won't give you context for how these words sort of come about.
So this reminds me, and I honestly might be dating myself here, but it reminds me back when I was a kid and you would be on Instant Messenger and you would be using coded acronyms like POS for parent over shoulder or something like that. But those were more light, but algo speak seems to have a darker context.
So it's a bit darker just because sometimes algo speak tends to sort of, I guess you could say, in the context where it grows a lot is usually in the terms of like child exploitation and human exploitation. A good example of that was cheese pizza, which in one of the in those circles was coded words for like sharing child explicit content and things of that nature, or even more sort of malicious, whereas they would as post commenters on like social media platforms would tell children posting on social media to sort of like raise their hands to the roof, kind of thing, if that makes any sense, just so they can have like some like skin exposure, if that makes sense. So it tends to be go darker towards those routes, but sometimes algo speak can just mean, uh, for instance, I guess you could say, there's corn.
What does corn mean?
Corn is sort of like a replacement for porn.
Oh, okay, okay. Give us some more common algo speak examples.
So during this was especially prevalent on TikTok because I was watching a lot of content. So during the pandemic, when social media platforms were sort of trying to curtail sort of like pandemic related misinformation, any sort of video that would feature the word pandemic would get flagged by the AI content moderation just because it would kind of equate it to misinformation. So to get around that, certain content creators would say panini,
Okay.
panoramic, panini express, to sort of refer to that pandemic and sort of curtail AI content moderation without sort of getting flagged for it.
To your point, is AI content moderation fair? Because it seems like it casts this wide net that might catch things that aren't exactly misinformation or things of that nature.
Yeah, so that's one of the issues most prevalent. Just because it's casting this broad net, a lot of people on like TikTok are kind of, I wouldn't say combating it, but they're frustrated with it, so they take to other platforms to post their content just because it is a wide net. And you can appeal it. TikTok has like an appeal process for it, but it sort of takes days, and it would have to involve like a human moderator to go through through the context, I guess, of the post, which I'm not sure at the moment right now if AI can understand things like sarcasm or can pick up on context.
I see. And back in the day, like I said, we were using these types of coded words a little lighter, but we were using them on AIM. Where are people using these words now?
Mostly social media apps like TikTok, Twitch, too. They also kind of heavily regulate their own thing, where sometimes gamers put like these coded messages in their gamer tags to sort of curtail that. And obviously, you could write it in sort of like a way where it's not explicitly like written out the word. Like for example, there was a use of like people writing lesbian but with a dollar sign as the S instead of the regular S, and that kind of like curtailed the sort of AI content moderation. So that's sort of how some people can go around it. So it's mostly TikTok, Instagram. Uh, I don't know, Snapchat. I don't think so. Snapchat's not not really that popular. At least I don't think so anymore. But Twitch, YouTube,